My name is Garcia. So I come from a bit of a non-traditional background. I served about 5.5 years in the military. I learned about Bitcoin in 2013 when I was deployed to Afghanistan. And I share this story because it's a pretty interesting story. I was sitting in what we call a mission ops center before heading out on mission, and a good friend of mine had shared with me, hey, have you heard of this thing? Well, now we refer to them as digital assets. It seems like it's a universal term. But before then, it's like, you heard this thing called Bitcoin? And I remember right before mission, we sat there and talked for about 15 minutes. I said, wow, this is either an incredible idea or someone's absolutely going to get rug pulled. This is an absolute scam. We went on a mission and I never talked about crypto or digital assets or blockchain technology until 2017-18. Before joining VeChain, I spent about 6 or 7 years in the asset management industry doing a number of things from portfolio management, product management, and then most recently, ETFs, related product management and capital markets. I remember sitting at my seat and I was at Vanguard, very conservative, traditional asset manager. I mean, that particular firm focuses primarily on low-cost manufacturing of investment products, really mutual funds or ETFs. We started learning and experimenting with what could we possibly do with distributed ledger technology. And that's where I really started to find an interest. I just recently spent the last 2 or so years at Bitwise Asset Management, really building up an ETF function. 2 years ago, I thought we were going to have a Bitcoin ETF. We didn't. It didn't come until January 11, 2024. That's roughly 6 months almost to the day that I'm standing here. If we went back as early as 2013 or so, when the Winklevoss twins had submitted their original filing for a Bitcoin ETF, we're talking about close to over a decade before we actually saw this thing come to market in the US. I think there's a lot of exciting things taking place. I think it's worthwhile stating that not every blockchain is the same. These are not monolithic projects or protocols, at least with regards to the regulatory's mindset and their view, that would necessitate what constitutes ultimately a commodity. And that's really at the heart, what's been sort of the primary trigger for giving the green light for approval. Where things go from here, time will still tell. But it does seem like it's fairly positive overall that this sort of intersection in which we're going to see the future of finance in the form where we currently see it in crypto, and traditional finance, what we've seen in securities law, is ultimately going to come to a head. And I think it's going to be positive. I think it's going to be positive not only for how we currently envision finance and where it will be in the future, but most importantly, for consumers. Coming from a very traditional finance background, the role that I'm looking to ultimately come and build out here at VeChain is going to be fundamentally unique. There's going to be a lot, certainly, of knowledge and institutional education that I'll be able to bring forward, but also getting a chance to be on the ground and talk directly with the developers of Mugshot or the Non-Fungible Book Club. I mean, these are really interesting ideas, and I think as it relates to sort of the future of what this potentially could mean for Web3, for me, it was fundamentally just so much more tangible. I am incredibly excited about this new venture. I'm super ecstatic to be a part of the VeChain fam. I'm saying let's get things started. I'm super excited.